Good evening, students. I am Dr. Surendra K, Singh, Faculty of Sociology. Today, me coming to you is basically talking about a certain strategic plan on the crash course of sociology with 18 sessions in 18 or 20 days. The purpose of this crash course, which we have planned out in 18 sessions, is not only to revise, but also to be gaining a comfortability, confidence with the writing practice, so that when you go to the mains, you go to the mains hall with a complete confidence and a comfortability in the sociology as an optional. And with this confidence in your mind, that sociology will not be a cause of rejection. So, the purpose which we are talking about is here in terms of revise and practice like a topper. Now, in this one, I said that 18 sessions should be there. The different units we will be talking about. We will not be leaving any part of the syllabus. But you all know that in 18 or 20 days, the entire syllabus cannot be done in a depth. So when we have done the entire units, our major focus would be on the high yielding topics from both paper 1 and paper 2. But we will not be having the escapist tendencies. When I say escapist tendency, in the sense that out of the 10 units in a paper 1, you have done only 6, you have left 4. No. We will be doing the entire 10. So if any kind of exigencies comes, we will be able to solve the questions. And we will be able to do justice with the need disposition of the question that has been asked in your mains 2025. You have all have done your course. So you are not a novice, you are not a new in terms of the sociology syllabus of UPSC. We will go deep down and we will try to have a deeper analysis, interdisciplinary approach, the integration with the unit 1 and 2, the similarities, the differences, the convergence, the divergence, with an analytical mind and in-depth conceptual clarity. You all have realized when you have taken your prelims and now you are in the preparation mode of mains. Optional is the one, and approaching 300 or 300 plus would certainly be making you get a rank in civils, for which you have labored so hard, for which we are here. You will be part of this crash course kind of. Not only the high yielding topics would be talked about, the in-depth analysis would be done, along with the daily practices every day. 1 or 2 questions I will be giving you, I will be asking from the PYQs, I will be asking you to make a synopsis and also to write. So that could be checked and that could be talked to you. Discussions on the synopsis preparation should be done, that how to make the synopsis of the PYQs, but not restricting ourselves merely to the PYQs which have been asked. I have always said, since so many years of 24 or 25 years of my teaching in civils, teaching sociology, that we must come to a level of our preparation where we would be able to anticipate the probables which would be coming out from there. And sometimes while doing the topics, if extra 5 or 10 minutes in terms of understanding the context is required, we'll have to go to that context. The finer line between context and context, the linkage between context and context has to be understood by us. And that way the things are to be understood, that way the preparation has to be done in our crash course mode. There will be a personalized mentorship. And when I say personalized mentorship, it will be in terms of the Google Map, Google Meet. And I'll also be sharing with my students my personal WhatsApp number, so that whenever reading something, you would be giving me, you will be writing it down that here are the problems, so that we could connect on the phones till your mains. This practice should be done. Even if abruptly you have picked up the certain questions, made the synopsis or written it, you can post on my WhatsApp and then I can check it out. I can connect with you either there, then and there, or sometimes if I am busy in the class, then later on from the office. But the personalized mentorship would be there. Whenever you want to meet me, you can come. And whenever you feel that you are faltering down, I'll be the first one to hold your hand. And if I feel that I was just talking to the office and I say that if sometimes I'm reading and writing and if I feel that these notes must be or these write-ups must be with the students, which they should go through before their mains pertaining to the different units, then they said, sir, there is a download section in the description of the link, and if anyone is having problem can give the call to the office so that the notes should be posted over there and that way the discussion should be done. When you say 18 sessions in a 20 days, sometimes you find that it requires more time. We will be giving that time, we will not be bound by the time. So somewhere 50-55 hours that we have written 50 hours. So here when we are talking about the syllabus in a 50 hours kind of. I'll show you that what are the units which I have picked up. But here particularly we need to understand that in terms of the paper 1, here we are talking about in terms of the emergence of sociology. Sociology is a science. And when we are talking about sociology as a science, very knowingly, I have taken it another one that is called the major theoretical stands from there. Though it is a part of the unit 2. So we will be understanding that one because now the questions are coming from there. The finer points in terms of interpretivism or symbolic intellectualism or phenomenology they have asked it, or ethnomethodology they have asked it, dramaturgy they have asked it. So such kind of things right from there we will be talking about in terms of, here we will be talking about modernity, consequent changes and emergence of sociology. And also looking at the certain important scholars, right from Renaissance to the Enlightenment, to the French Revolution, to the Industrial Revolution, because such kind of questions are coming out. Because the nature of questions sometimes are looking at is found intellectual reaction or intellectual contribution to the development of sociology. So that way we'll try to look at the transition, that how sociology emerged as a part and response to modernity, and also to address the dislocations brought by modernity. Once we have done this one, then we will also be talking about its scope, its relationship with other social sciences, from where the certain questions are coming. And then common sense in sociology, looking at from both the sides dear. At one general perspective we said about that the scientific nature of sociology has separated it from common sense. No, they are also asking that how common sense has been useful in the development of sociology. So both the way, when you read it, look at the topics, subtopics from both the dimensions, pros and cons. The tenets are to be understood by it. And then linking with the sociology as a science, and within which we will be raising the debate of positivism, non-positivism, and also the neo-positivism, post-positivism, such kind of terms which are emerging out, such kind of development in the sociological tradition that is taking place, would also be the part of the discussions. And who are the major scholars who have talked about, what kind of changes they have brought about, the certain tables we will be making, so that in a tabular form you will be able to understand. And then all these non-positivists and positivists, their basic tenets, the certain dimensions and their propositions will be talked about. Finer points have to be talked about. For example, recently they asked the question on phenomenology, where we simply talk about what phenomenology is all about. We talk about Alfred Suge, and in the same line we talk about Edmund Husserl. Now what I am saying, only one line added, that Edmund Husserl, by taking note of the symbolic intellectualism and Alfred Suge, provided a new dimension in phenomenology. So this is the one line which is making the examiner know that you understand sociology. Sociology is a major forte of yours. It is not so that you have prepared sociology merely for the sake of preparation, choosing an optional. Now we will have to show it that you understand sociology. You have that sociological orientation, you have developed that sociological perspective. And in this way, the major theoretical stance will be talked about in terms of positivism, in which we will be talking about the neo-positivism and also post-positivism. And then we will be talking about the non-positivism, non-positivist, in which interpretionist, then symbolic interactionist, then phenomenology, then ethnomethodology, dermatology. So they are not merely the passing reference. We will be preparing them in such a manner that we will be able to write that in 250 words. So the finer points would be talked about in terms of this. And then we will be talking about research methods. Let me say at our times, 30 years back, research methodology was a neglected topic. But today the way the questions are coming in terms of quantitative, qualitative, and the data collection, types of sampling, reliability and validity, but that they have also opened up the debate of quantitative, qualitative, not merely in terms of methodological one, but also on the philosophical one. So if anyone is looking at the PYQs now, we started looking at, you'll find about the questions 2 or 3 years back. They asked you the epistemological dimensions of qualitative methods, in which nothing but the same positivism, non-positivism as we talked about, in which the positivism and interpretivism has to be talked about. But this is one part of the philosophical debate. And another part of the philosophical debate is ontological, in which we will be knowing about realism, idealism, materialism. So the complete philosophical dimension will be there. We'll also try to know that how only one part has been asked, what one part has been left out. That's why I'm saying that our aim is not only to go in depth, to look at the high yielding topics, be comfortable in the PYQs, but also in this process we would all be able to know about what are the probables, the anticipations. Because we are not sure that the questions which have been asked will be asked over there. And once we have done this one, then here is the heart and soul of sociology. This is six scholars. You might have gone through. Prepare now in terms of themes, which is the syllabus given. Look at that every theme, what are the concepts to be picked up in your writing, and what methods these scholars have brought it. Go through this one. This is the theme which is written in syllabus. And then try to find out the comparative analysis. For example, if I are talking about realism, they will be talking about Karl Marx, Emil Durkheim, Weber. If you are talking about division of labor, such questions are coming, Karl Marx, Emil Durkheim. If you are talking about stratification or class or capitalism, then Marx versus Weber. If you are talking about the methodological debate, then Emil Durkheim and Max Weber, also in terms of realism. How the methodological gap which was widened in terms of Durkheim and Weber would be breached by Parsons. So Parsons in terms of social action will be anticipating that question in terms of Weber and others. Parsons along with the Merton in terms of grand theory versus middle range theories. So your preparation, when you have done it and made a synopsis, come to the comparative analysis between them and also try to find out the certain common areas on which they have spoken, what has been the convergence, what has been the divergence. They had asked recently, they had asked the question in Enomi, Durkheim and Merton, alright, and they added that again at the same time a person could be conformist, and if such kind of questions are coming, then in depth you'll have to go through. So that's why I'm saying, pick up the theme, imagine rationally that what are the concepts which this theme has encapsulated, what that involves, and what are the main concepts which should come in your answers, so that you would be able to comprehend the answers in a more systematic manner. And these whole 6 scholars would also be giving the certain things in terms of positivism is a mild archaic. Karl Marx is a critic to positivism with the dialectical method. Max Weber, non-positivist one. All right, George Herbert Mead, symbolic empiricism as yet another non-positivist. So your key to success is the 6 scholars. Time and again you will be using here and there in the different units. And once you have done it in different units, whenever the need would be, you will be looking at the new scholars, but in a segmentalized perspective. Our major focus should be on the 6. That's why I said these are the heart and soul of sociology. Your comfortability in the thinkers would make you fetch more marks, and so that you would be able to realize your dream. And once we have done this one, then we will be talking about social stratification and mobility, the social structure, the same theories in terms of the Marxian Weber, structural functionalism, the certain concepts, hierarchy, stratification, unstratified society, exclusion, poverty. All right, we'll be looking at gender, race, all would be. And there would be a conceptual understanding in one line. Once you are conceptually very sound here, it makes you miser. When I say miser, be miser in terms of mains writing. That you will not be using a very long sentences and devoid of the certain content. At our times when the 600 marks, 600 words question used to come 60 marks, then we had the certain chance, sometimes we have deviated, we would come back. But now the given space is there, and then you have to write in a certain limited words. So sometimes we used to write in a very linguistic kind of perspective. The long ago there lived a king. King was a very handsome who has a big orchard. Finished. There was a handsome king with a big orchard. And that would become only when you are conceptually sound. So that, now how would you talk about social stratification? If I now say you that in one line, what is social stratification? Social stratification is a structured, institutionalized inequality. One line. Elaborate this one. Raise the subjectivity of the teacher through your writing, through your knowledge. And then work in economic life, paper 1, in which you will also be talking about the informal sectors, migrant laborers, others, taking from the second paper. And then once you have done this one, then rural agrarian structure, Indian villages across the time and space, in a second paper, and then political institution from both paper 1 and paper 2. We are talking about this both, dear. Paper 1 and paper 2. I'll just talk about the second paper. And there, the certain common kind of perspectives will be talked about. And then we will be picking up Unit 8, Organization of Political Institutions in Indian Society. Then types of social movements, all women, farmers, ecological, environmental, identity orientation movements, ethnicity movements, Dalit movement, the backward caste, all would be there. All right? And from here, religion as a social institution in both paper 1 and paper 2. And why certain terms which have not been used, which were there in the first paper, why it has not been there. And then kinship structure, system of kinship. So system of kinship in India as well. And the final understanding of clan versus Gotra, clan and descent and lineage clan. And then we will also be talking about Gotra and Vansa, Kula. So that way the conceptual understanding has to be there. If the certain question comes out, we would be able to do this one. And then introduction to Indian society and caste system. So approaching through the perspectives. 4 perspectives has been there in terms of G.S. Gure, Louis Dumo, M.N. Srinivas, Andre Bete. Sometimes they are asking the subaltern studies. Alright. So we will be approaching that one in terms of this one. And once we have done it, the social structure of Indian society, part B, And then population dynamics, what another questions which are coming from there, either in terms of aging or in terms of gender one, sex ratio, and other kind of questions. And also looking at the contemporary questions in the new population policies requirement, certain opinionated questions would be there. Then social change in modern society, theoretical orientations, that is from the paper 1, and then challenges of social. This all would be talking about paper 1 and paper 2. I do not deal with dear paper 1 and paper 2 separately. The moment we will be talking about, we will be also talking about the second paper, wherever the common units would be there. And we will try to go in terms of understanding and revising that where they have collided and where they have separated with one another. How this concept, theoretical, methodological contours could be applied in a second paper. We will not be bifurcating. And that way, 18 or 20 sessions which we will be talking about in 50 hours. And if need be, 4 or 5 hours would be taken. It is not so that it is 50 hours and the things are closed. No. Your comfortability is the important one. And time and again I have said, I don't know whether we will be heard this line of mine or not. I have always said that in last 24, 25 years, that now I will not be cause of rejection, neither I will make sociology to be cause of rejection. Since now you are not a new, you have gone through the sociology, you have revised once you have done the syllabus. So the revision would done quick revisions with the in-depth analysis, the PYQs, probables, personalized mentorship. And once you have done this, dear, then basically we will be talking about now this is the one which we are talking about in terms of the syllabus which we have prepared. I wanted to show you this slide, that the 50 hours of classes to cover high yielding topics from paper 1 and 2, daily answer writing practice, because I will be giving one question PYQ, some synopsis has to be made, some answers has to be checked and discussed, then previous year questions discussions and personalized mentorship with the faculty. All right. Now this is the syllabus which I have picked up. From paper 1, beginning with this is the session plan here. So session plan is there in terms of paper 1, foundational pillars of sociology, emergence of sociology, modernity as a precedence, evolution of basic and applied sociology, role of common sense and sociology as a science. This is the session 1. All right, we have picked up scientific methods, applicability, positivism, non-positivism, major theoretical strands. Then session 2 would be on the research methodology. Session 3 is that thinkers I have divided in part of 2 here. We will be picking up the 3 scholars first, Karl Marx, Durkheim and Weber. And then we will be moving for Weber and Parsons 3 classes. So Parsons and Marx and Durkheim 1, Weber and Parsons 2nd class, and Merton and Mead would be the 3rd one. Then will be coming out in terms of concepts and theories. This is the Merton which is coming out, Herbert Mead. Then session 6 is on social stratification and mobility. And then you could look it out. I just wanted to feel it so that you could understand that what are the planning which you have done. All right. According to the suitability of you in terms of your understanding. So here, once we have done it, then session 8 is in terms of rural and agrarian structure, Indian villages across time and space, and then rural and agrarian transformation. I have brought it because they are interlinked, and then political institution. So this is from paper 1, paper 2 both. Then session 10 would be organization of political institution in Indian society. Then session 11 is on types of social movements, peasant and farmer movements, environment movements, caste, backward caste and Dalit movements, ethnicity and identity movements, women's movements. And there will also be looking at the first paper, the certain general dimensions of the Western one in general and also in particular in terms of Indian society, which may take some time, 5 or 10 minutes extra. But you will be going with the confidence that you know that if a certain kind of twist question is there, you would be understanding that one. And that way the session 12 is on religion, theoretical evolution, primitive functionalist, Weberian, Durkheim, sect and cult, denominations, contemporary case studies, religion, modern society, religious communities in India, problems of minorities, fundamentalism, communalism. These are the revivalism, religious revivalism, such kind of topics which are there. And then session 13 is on social change, 14 is on introduction to Indian society, perspectives of Indology. Here I wanted you to know that when we talk about the second paper, I have always said that second paper works like a mathematics. Alright, and you might have seen that those who have qualified with a very good marks in sociology and have made their mark in UPSC, they have selected in UPSC. Their marks in the second paper has always been good. Give 1 hour to understand that how the Indian sociology has developed from 1919 to 2025, 106 years. And the theoretical methodological concerns in Indian sociology has been as rich as that of the Western sociology. In Western sociology, it emerged in 1838, some decades should be there. 1919, it emerged in Bombay, Mumbai University. But you need to understand the theoretical perspectives here. Like here, if I say about Indology, a structuralist or a structuralism, a structural functionalism, a structural Marxism. These three, Indology, a structural functionalism, a structural Marxism, that from where it begins, then modernization, in which we will be also talking about certain portions of Yogendra Singh and others, and a subaltern studies. This question has been asked to you. All right. Ranjit Guha, we will be talking about the certain dimensions from Lenski, Gerhard Lenski. So that way, the certain 1 or 2 finer points will make you understand. That's why I am saying high yielding units, but not leaving the topics, making you understand the finer points, making you understand what are the perspectives to use, along with, dear, along with, in a second paper, also looking at the empirical examples. Empirical examples to substantiate your view, substantiate your answer, not to frame your answers. And in this very perspective, the entire first paper and second paper we are talking about. Once again, I am saying this is 50-55 hours, 18 sessions, 20 days, 2.5 to 3 hours each. Not only understanding the entire syllabus, but high yielding topics, the most probables which will be talked about in more details. Daily answer writing sessions would be there. Synopsis preparation of the PYQs. I'll be asking in the class, giving you the question, and we're waiting for 10 minutes so that you can write. Give me the synopsis. We can discuss. Personalized mentorship will always be there. Till you have taken your mains sociology in 2025. And along with that, if I find that something has to be posted, you must get these notes so that you could read it. I'll ask the office to post it so that with the instruction that you just open this and you will be getting the notes so that you can talk, and in a personalized mentorship, in a Google Meet and others, or while giving a call to me in a WhatsApp, you can chat to me. Sir, I have read it. These are the problems. So, do not carry the problems. Let's discuss the problems then and there, so that the things should be done. You know, when you have prepared, a summary sheet should be there in your mind. You go with the summary sheet. But when you go to the examination hall, don't go with the confused, overlapped informations. No. Go with the confidence. And I have always said jokingly that when you go to the confidence, if you have been my student, go to the hall with this confidence that if I don't know this question, no one knows here. And I would be dealing better than others who are sitting in my room. And I'll be able to do justice sociologically to the questions. No question will surprise you. Alright? And that way the things would be done in depth. Perspective is sometimes interdisciplinary, analytical perspective would be done. And some questions would be there so that you can talk about. Your confidence would be there. And once again, I promise that sociology will not be cause of rejection and I will not be cause of rejection. I'll pick up every stone, I'll turn it, and the rest you'll have to do it. Alright? My job is 3 hours, 2 hours and be with you. You will have to find a time to read, to mug up, to cover up, go for the discussions, to understand, discuss it. Sometimes in the class you can post me, sir, this is the problem, we can talk about in the same class. No, when after the class, when you have watched the videos and even after the videos, you can be there. Do not carry that problem to yourself. Now I have come to the age, I have come to this conditions in my teaching life that I could provide the personalized kind of perspective and we would be very happy in your success. Alright? Dream is yours, we'll have to choose it. We'll become the instrumental. We are the guide, not the liberator. Liberator is you yourself. Escalation of the subject and marks is done both by the teacher and the students. Not by UPSC. So that way everything, the conceptual clarity will be going with it there. Analytical perspective, you know how to analyze. Conceptual depth, conceptual understanding. Isolated topics are gone now. We'd also be knowing how the contemporary issues, particularly in second paper, could be provided the locations to be read with the sociological perspectives. So all those, I invite all those who have done their sociology, either from somewhere or from themselves, if they want to revise that in a 20 days and practice writing and think like a topper. So the revise and practice like a topper, then come, be a part of this crash course and we will together try to understand what sociology is and getting the confidence. I wish all of you the best of luck. Thank you.